Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Today we are going to learn about electric potential due to an electric dipole. Yesterday's topic was based on electric potential due to a point charge. Now we arrived at an equation for electric potential due to a point charge as V is equal to Q by epsilon naught R. Now this is the equation we arrived at yesterday, and we were also discussing about the variation of electric field and electric potential with respect to distance. I was explaining you the graph like how the potential and the electric field varies with respect to the distance, and we also saw that in the graph the electric field due to a dipole with respect to distance was increasing. The slope was much more increasing faster than the electric potential due to a dipole. So these are some of the things we were discussing yesterday. Now in continuation with that, today we are going to discuss a very important topic, children, which is electric potential due to an electric dipole. Now, as you all know, an electric dipole is nothing but a system of two charges that are equal and opposite, separated by a distance. Now, here in this diagram, now this is a dipole plus Q and minus Q. Now, they are separated by a distance 2a, and from plus Q to O is the semi-length of the dipole, and here also O to minus Q, semi-length of the dipole. O is the midpoint of the dipole. I am going to consider a point P. Now let this point be P. Now this point P is at a distance of, let me name this as P, children. Okay. Now this point P is at a distance of R from the midpoint of the dipole. I am going to determine what is the electric potential at P due to the dipole, which is kept at a distance of R from the midpoint of the dipole. So that is our topic today. Okay. Now I would like to write the yesterday's formula, which is electric potential due to a point charge. So we arrived at the equation V is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R, because this equation I am going to use today. So this is very, very important. So now whatever we are learning yesterday, whatever we have learned, now it has a continuation today. So whatever daily portions we are discussing, daily topics we are discussing, children, please go through. Now, if you are not going to go through the concepts, definitely you will have difficulty in understanding the next day's concept, children. So, please go through whatever we are just taking only for 20 or 25 minutes. So, have that mindset to take the book and read that day's portion. Okay, now if you are not going to be thorough with this formula, then you will not be able to follow up what I am going to say now. Okay. So, V is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Now, I have taken the point P from the midpoint of the dipole. Now, what will be the total potential at P? Now, the total potential at P will be the sum of the potentials due to plus Q and minus Q, right? Yes or no? So, if I wanted to find out the potential at P, first I should find the potential of plus Q with respect to, what it should be the potential due to plus Q, and it should be the potential due to minus Q. When you sum up, you will get the total potential at P. So let us start with potential at Q. Okay, and this Q plus Q is at a distance of R1 from P, children, and minus Q is at a distance of R2 from P. Okay, and from O to Q it is A, and O to minus Q, which is A, which is the semi-length of the dipole. Right, now we are moving on to the derivation. So first is I wanted to write potential at P due to charge Q. Okay, so plus Q. Now to go into that, I would like to recall a very small cosine formula which you would have read in your maths, which states that in a triangle with side A, B, C. So cosine formula is A square equal to B square plus C square minus 2BC. So this is cosine formula. Now I am going to use this formula here to find out potential at P due to charge plus Q. So to start with, potential at P due to charge Q1 is taken as V1. So V1 equal to plus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now what is the distance? The distance is taken as R1. Is it clear? Similarly, what is the potential at P due to the charge minus Q? Due to the charge minus Q, I have potential as minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. It is R2. Clear? Now what will be the total potential? Tell me. The total potential will be V is equal to V1 plus V2, which is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught will be common. So I have 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So this is the equation. Okay, now I need to find out what is 1 by R1 and what is 1 by R2. So for this, I am going to use cosine law. So let us find out what is 1 by R1. To find out 1 by R1, let me start the cosine formula with respect to this triangle, children, with respect to plus Q. So this is R1, this is R, and this is A. Let us consider this to be a triangle. So I wanted to find out the value of R1. So to start with, let us take R1 square equal to R1 square is equal to R square plus A square minus 2RA cos theta. Is it clear? Is it clear? You have any doubt in this? Similarly, I can write R2 square as R square plus A square plus 2RA cos theta. I will tell you why it is plus 2RA cos theta. Look at the angle here. Now here the angle between the dipole moment. Now here P represents the dipole moment. The dipole moment is from minus Q to plus Q. So look at the arrow. It is from minus Q to plus Q. So theta is the angle between the dipole moment axis, that is axis of the dipole, and this point P. Now if this is going to be theta, what will be this angle, children? So this angle will be, what will be this angle? This angle will be 180 minus theta, right? So here this angle will be 180 minus theta. Let me just write here. This angle will be 180 minus theta. So if it is going to be theta here, so it is minus 2RA cos theta. Now here it is cos theta. Instead of theta, I will substitute 180 minus theta. So cos 180 minus 2RA cos 180 minus theta is minus cos 180 minus theta is minus cos theta. So minus into minus, it becomes plus. So I have R2 square equal to R square plus A square plus 2RA cos theta. Okay. Now in this first equation, I will write once again R1 square equal to, let me take this R square out. When I take R square out, it will be 1 plus A square by R square minus 2A cos theta by R. Okay. Is it clear? 1 minus 2A cos theta by R plus A square. Now here, what I have done is this equation you multiply and divide by r square. Now first term you take. First r square multiply by r square divide by r square. Second term a square into r square by r square. 2ra cos theta into r square by r square. Okay, so r square numerator you take it out. Now I have here r square by r square, so you have 1. Now numerator r square you have taken out, denominator you have r square, so that I have written here. Now here numerator r square has come out, denominator I have r square, so numerator I have one more r, so it gets cancelled, so you have 2a cos theta by r. Is it clear? Is it clear, children? Similarly, I will write for r2 square also, children. So r2 square equal to r square. Again here I have 1 plus a square by r square. Here I have plus 2a cos theta by r. Is it clear? So I have two equations for r1 square and r2 square. One is 1 plus a square plus by r square minus 2a cos theta by r. The second one is r2 square equal to r square 1 plus a square by r square plus 2a cos theta by r. Okay. Now I am going to neglect the term a square by r square. Now why am I neglecting this? Now once again come back to the diagram. Now a represents the semi length of the dipole and r represents the distance of the midpoint, distance between the midpoint of the dipole and P. Now when we compare this distance, this r is much more greater than a, which is the semi length of the dipole. So if it is going to be like that, you can neglect the term a square by r square. So if I neglect the term, I can write r1 square equal to r square 1 minus 2a cos theta by r. Similarly, I can write r2 square equal to r square 1 plus 2a cos theta by r. So these two equations I arrive for r1 square and r2 square. Now once again I am going to simplify this term. Because remember I want to have the value of r1. So now what I am going to do is I am going to take the value of r1. So before I could take the value of r1, so what will be r1 now? R1 will be r into 1 minus 2a cos theta by r the whole power half, correct? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, now this is r1, but I wanted to have the value of 1 by r1, children, correct? So what will be my 1 by r1, ma? 1 by r1 equal to 1 by r 1 minus 2a cos theta by r the whole power minus half. Okay. Similarly, I will write for r2 also here. R2 will be r into 1 plus 2a cos theta by r the whole power half, and 1 by r2 will be 1 by r, and I have inside 1 plus 2a cos theta by r the whole power minus half. Okay. Now once again I am going to simplify this equation using binomial theorem. Now in binomial theorem I will neglect all the other terms. I will restrict to only the first term of the binomial equation. So when I restrict to the first term of the binomial theorem, now this is of the form 1 minus, hope you would have read binomial theorem, hope you remember. So it is of the form 1 minus x the whole power minus n. Okay, so in that case, what will be the first term? Now this is of the form, once again I'll tell you, it is 1 minus x the whole power minus n. So the first term for that will be 1 plus nx. So when I simplify this equation, I will have the value of 1 by r1 is equal to 1 by r. Inside I have 1 plus a by r cos theta. Now this is with respect to using binomial theorem and neglecting all the terms, we restrict to the first term alone. Similarly, I have here for 1 by r2 equal to 1 by r, I have 1 minus a by r cos theta. So I have arrived at the value of 1 by r1 and 1 by r2. Is it clear? So here I will write this arrow so that you understand better. Clear? Yes or no? Right, now what I am going to do is I am going to add both the values. So 1 by r1, 1 by r2 both to be added and it should be substituted here. So when I substitute, now what will be the total potential? The total potential will be, I'll write once again the formula, V is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. I have inside q by r1 minus q by r2. Now when I substitute all these values, when I substitute for 1 by r1 as 1 plus a by r cos theta, then 1 by r2 as 1 minus a by r cos theta, I will arrive at, now let me write this, q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now for 1 by r1, what is the value of 1 by r1? 1 by r1 is 1 by r into 1 plus a by r cos theta, then minus q by q I have already taken out, 1 by r2 will be again 1 by r 1 minus a by r cos theta, right? Okay, so the total potential will be, now I have q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now here 1 by r is here, children, and here also r is there. So when I take all the r out, it becomes r square. Clear? So it is q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Inside I have 1 plus a cos theta minus 1 plus a cos theta. So minus 1 plus 1 gets cancelled. So here I have q into 2a cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So what is this 2qa? 2qa is nothing but p, which is dipole moment. So it is p cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, which is the equation for electric potential due to a dipole. So this is the equation. A very important derivation. Today itself you keep on practicing, at least I want you to write minimum 3 times. Only then you will be able to understand step by step process and you will be able to do it without seeing. Okay, so this we have arrived at. Now this is just a scalar quantity, and if I have a unit vector position with respect to position vector, if I write, now this equation I will write as p dot r vector by 4 pi epsilon naught r square with respect to position vector. Is it clear? Now I am going to discuss three important cases here. Now I am going to consider the position of P. Okay. Now let me write once again this P here. This is gone from here. So P here. I'm going to consider this point P in three different positions. One position is the P will be along the axis of the dipole. Now P will be near to minus Q and P will be near to plus Q. So in that case, what will happen to the potential of the dipole? If P is going to be near plus Q, now imagine this plus Q, imagine the P to be, suppose let me extend this. Imagine the position of P to be somewhere here, which is near plus Q. In that case, what will be the potential? Because the potential depends not only on the position vector but also on the angle. So, if P is going to be here, where is my cursor? Yes, if P is going to be here, okay, near plus Q, theta will be 0. So if theta is going to be 0, what will be cos 0, children? Cos 0 will be 1. So what will be the potential? Potential V is equal to P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Okay, so case 1, if theta is going to be 0, then potential will be P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Next case. Case 2, if theta is going to be 180 degree. When theta will be 180 degree, children? Now consider this point P to be along this side of the dipole. Now again, when I keep a dotted line here, now imagine the point P to be somewhere here. So in this case, what will be the direction between P and Q? It will be minus Q to plus Q, right? So in that case, the angle between now it will be 180 degree. If it is going to be 180 degree, what is V? Cos 180 is minus 1. So V will be P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square, correct? Yes. So the potential when the dipole is, when the point P is along the axis of the dipole, you have the value of potential to be plus or minus P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square, correct? Yes. If it is going to be near plus Q, then potential is going to be plus P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. If the point P is near minus Q, then the potential is going to be minus P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square, or I can write V is equal to plus or minus P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square if the point P is going to be along the axis of the dipole. Now case 3 is, if I am going to consider theta to be 90 degree, then what will be the potential? 90 degree in the sense the potential, the point P is exactly perpendicular to the dipole. I mean from the center of the dipole. In that case, cos 90 will be 0. So potential is going to be 0. So these are the three cases, right? And we have already seen that the potential due to a dipole does not depend only on R. Okay, we have already seen that with respect to position vector, we have seen that the potential depends on R, but not only depends on R, but it also depends between the angle between R and the dipole moment P vector. Is it clear, children? Now, I'm going to say that the potential is axially symmetric about P. That is, now just imagine a diagram like this. Now let us take 2 points. Here I'm drawing a line. Line A, B, and I have at this point A, I have minus Q. Here I have plus Q. Now this is the semi length of the dipole, and I say that if I am going to consider the position vector along this line. So if I am going to rotate the position vector along this, now this is the position vector, right? And this will be theta. If this value of theta is going to be the same, now this is the position vector. Now when I keep on rotating the position vector along this direction, which is the along the axis of the dipole, at this point all the potential will be the same. So you can say that the dipole moment vector P is axially symmetric in this position. So this is what they explain in your textbook. The first point in your textbook after the derivation part, they say that it is axially symmetric about P. That is, when you say that it is axially symmetric, when you rotate the position vector R about P by keeping the value of theta to be the same. Okay, when you keep the value of theta fixed and you rotate the position vector, the points corresponding to P, now this is P, now whatever points are there in this cone, all will have the same potential. So you can say that it is axially symmetric. Okay, so this is a very important point. And the next is a very small topic where you talk about system of charges. Now let us consider a point P, and you have a system of charges Q1, Q2, Q3 with position vectors R1, R2, R3, etc. So to start with, what is the potential with respect to potential at P due to the charge Q1. So I can write the potential with respect to charge Q1 at P is 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 by what is the position vector, that I will write. Now here the position vector with respect to P is R1P, right? Similarly, what is the electric potential due to the charge Q2? So I will have Q2 by R2P. Similarly, for the charge Q3, what will be the electric potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q3 by R3P. So, the potential at P due to various charges which are at a distance of R1P, R2P, R3P can be combined together to find out the sum of the potential. So, we go for what principle here? What is the principle here? Now the principle involved is superposition principle. V is equal to V1 plus V2, V3 up to how many number of charges are there. So suppose if there are n number of charges, you will find out all the individual potentials due to the individual charges with respect to their position vectors, and when you sum up together you will get the total potential. So when I sum up, I will have 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught to be common, children. I will take 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught common out, and you have inside Q by R1P plus Q by R2P up to Q by RNP. So this is how you will find out the total potential. Is it clear, children? Is it clear? So go through the content in the textbook. Just read this derivation part is very important, children. So definitely, as I told you, at least minimum twice or thrice I want you to read the derivation part. Tomorrow I'll be continuing with the next topic, children. Okay, so please go through it.